Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today Ulanzi has sent us several accessories for all of you who are content creators. Accessories that will allow us to improve both the quality and the way we record our videos. In this case, we're going to do the unboxing of several devices. We have a variety, some for audio, others for cooling, and others are simply mounts. Let's see what each of them has to offer, and let's see how they work. First of all, let me tell you that Ulanzi is a brand that has been around for quite a few years and is dedicated to making accessories for content creators for recording and photography. All those accessories you might want for everything related to recording videos for social media. These are accessories that, besides being affordable, also offer great value for money. So I'm going to remove the plastic from all these devices and we'll start with the unboxing and see what each one is for. Let's go! And we're going to start with the Ulanzi SL03. It's a device that will be useful for us in two situations. Whether we're recording video and want to light up a scene, or using it as a flash for photo sessions as well. Let's open up this device and see exactly what it's like. In the box, we're going to get both the flash or lamp and a USB-C charging cable to charge the battery whenever we need it. In this case, you'll see that it's a pretty small device. I don't know if you can see there, more or less, the palm of my hand, and it is basically the size of my palm. Alright, so this tiny little device connects to our camera using this mount you see here, which is a universal mount. It's a mount that we simply slide onto the camera, and as I said, it's going to be useful for us in two types of situations, both for photos, as a flash, and as a video light. How does it work? Well, basically we have two little buttons, the power button, which we hold down, and it will light up, and as you can see, it's quite bright. I'm holding it, well, about as far as my arm can reach. And it's pretty dazzling, so this is a pretty powerful light for illuminating from a distance. Now we have another little button that, if we hold it down, will switch to flash mode. And here we have 4 flash settings, 1/8, 1/4, 1/2, or full power. Now, every time we take a photo with our camera, the flash will fire automatically. We can do a test directly from the little green button we have on the back. That way, now the flash is recharging again. We see that it's ready again, and you'll see that it would take a photo of me like this. Of course, you obviously won't be able to notice it in the video, but I'm gonna try to put it on a camera, or at least on my video camera, and let's see if I can show you how it works. But anyway, like I said, it's a classic flash that also gives us the option to use it as lighting for videos. This device, the SL03, costs around 30 euros. If you're wondering about the battery life, well, at full power, it would give us about 500 shots of battery life. Let me tell you that we have 130 lumens of brightness and a color temperature of 5600 Kelvin with a variation of 200 Kelvin. Well, it's a very simple device, but it works for both photo lighting and video lighting. And now we're going to look at a device for cooling our cameras. For Sony, Canon, and Fuji alike. In this case, it's a device that will be useful when, for example, we want to record for long periods of time with our video camera. And if it's not prepared for that, it's normal for it to overheat and stop recording. This used to happen to me a lot, for example, with my previous camera, the Sony a6500s. It was a camera, well, you know, that was made for recording video and taking photos. So if you tried to record video for half an hour or just during the summer, the camera would overheat and eventually it would tell you, hey, I'm not recording anymore. It's too hot inside. So how does this work? Well, basically, this is a little fan, okay? It's the simplest thing in the world, but we put this right where the screen is, where the camera's screen is usually located. And this way, it adjusts with a spring to fit all kinds of cameras and sizes. And in the end, it blows air onto it that will keep the camera much cooler and make it take longer to heat up, and it lets us record for a longer time. You can find this device in 2 colors, both in black and in gray. It's a device that's made completely out of metal, so it's actually quite sturdy. It comes with a pretty long USB-A to USB-C cable, from what it looks like. This has to be about 1.5 meters long to charge it using the port we have on the front of the device. In addition to the fan, we have a small screen and a little button, so we're just gonna keep the button pressed to turn it on. And on the little screen, we're gonna see several things. First, how much battery we have left right now. In this case, half of the battery. On the other hand, we have 3 speeds. We can have it turned off, we can have it on 1 or on 2. As you can see, now it's on 0. I press it once and it's on 1, and now I set it to 2. I don't know if you can hear anything, but honestly, you can barely hear it. It's very, very quiet. Now, in the back, it's already giving me a good airflow. I mean, in the back, in my hand, it's giving me a good airflow. That would work to cool down a camera. I'll show you how my Sony works. Although, well, luckily the camera I'm currently recording with is made for video, and it usually doesn't have these problems. And at the bottom of the screen, it also shows us the temperature of the camera. That is, it has a temperature sensor that measures the current temperature of the camera and its surroundings. It's a super simple device, but several friends of mine who are photographers have been using it for many years, because otherwise, for example in summer, it's impossible to record a video. It's true that I used to have that problem with the 6500, but when I switched cameras, I thought about this, and my current camera doesn't have that problem. But hey, just so you know, this is a device that for 40 euros will solve all your overheating problems with your cameras, Sony, Canon, and Fujifilm. Alright, now let's take a look at a magnetic tripod for our phone. In this case, it's the MA60, a device that will let us stand our phone upright. On a table, for example, if we want to have a meeting or record any kind of conference. It can also be used to hold it in your hand while taking a selfie, recording videos, and so on. This makes it much more comfortable than just holding the phone in your hand. And of course, it also works as a stand, as I mentioned, in different ways. It works both as a traditional tripod and as a stand, for example, on the table to watch videos on our favorite social network. Well, the first thing we have here is a ring that we can stick to any type of device with glue to make it compatible, because this is a magnetic tripod. And what does that mean? Well, it means that it's mainly designed for Apple devices. In this case, for example, here I have the iPhone Air, and as you can see, it's already perfectly attached magnetically. Okay, so if I take it off now, it's completely magnetic, and honestly, it has a good grip. I mean, the phone won't move from here. Now, this starts to fold. Okay, so here we see that it came completely folded, but now we can start to unfold it, and it actually has quite a bit of strength. I mean, it looks really, really sturdy. It's also made of metal, and let's see what we have here now. Well, for example, I could be recording like this right now without having to, so to speak, hold the phone in this way, which can be a bit more unstable. So this way I might be able to record a super stable video, well, at least in a much more comfortable way. Okay, also for taking selfies and so on, it's much more comfortable. However, I've seen that this can be unfolded like this, and we can make it into a tripod to put it on the table. I don't know if you'll be able to see it well like this right now. Well, look, we have our device on a table, and we could be making a video call either on FaceTime or recording, for example, as I said, a conference. On the other hand, if you have it completely folded and just unfold the little legs, you could use it as... Hey, imagine you're eating at the kitchen table, you're alone, and you want to watch a video on YouTube. Well, you can just leave it there. This way, just by making a triangle without having to unfold the whole tripod upwards. And this would work to keep the iPhone completely stable there in a horizontal position so you can watch any kind of video. Also, as I mentioned, it's pretty sturdy at every angle, so we can adjust the tilt however we want at any time. Honestly, it's a very simple device, but as I said, it can be useful both as a handle or grip for the iPhone to make it more comfortable, as a tripod, and also as a stand for a table. This device, the MA60, costs around 25 euros. Now, if the MA60 isn't enough for you, you should know that there's a version on steroids, the MA38. A device that's going to be very similar. It also comes with a sticker, so you can make any type of mobile device magnetic, and it works pretty much the same way. However, this other device is going to come with many more possibilities. Now, the way to proceed is the same. The phone is going to attach magnetically, meaning it stays completely fixed on the back. And now we're going to see some differences because the first one is already in the head, which is able to rotate 360 degrees. Now I see a problem, and it's that I had to use the iPhone 12 mini because, for example, the iPhone Air hits the fixed part and can't rotate. That is, the iPhone is bigger than the head, so it hits the part that stays fixed. But anyway, just so you know, this head is able to rotate 360 degrees. Now, the next thing we find is that on the bottom, we're going to have a standard screw thread to mount it on any type of tripod. And this way, you can hold the MA38. In this case, the legs will be held at a maximum angle of 90 degrees. So as you can see, we can't bend them any further than this. We can return it to its original position, but we can't bend it any further, and we'll also have the option to flip it over and use a little fold-out tab it has to attach it, for example, to a monitor or our laptop, and that way we can use our iPhone, in my case, iPhone, as if it were a new webcam for our laptop. You already know that Apple's new operating systems allow you to use iPhones as a webcam. So this way, with this accessory, we could use it, as I said, to use it as a webcam, place it on the back of the screen, and with this little tab, it would stay in place. As we can see, it has more features, some of them more complex than the MA60. I also get the feeling, though I'm not really sure about this, that it has a small platform here to mount it on some kind of tripod, like a quick release or something like that, but right now, I couldn't say for sure. But anyway, mainly I'd say that we can use it either with a tripod using that screw I mentioned on the bottom, or also with this little tab if we want to use it as a webcam for our computer. Also, I want to highlight that it rotates 360 degrees. Plus, this MA38 is magnetic on the bottom so that we could stick it to metal surfaces. And since we're talking about things that can be mounted on a tripod, let's talk about the MT89, a tripod that we can take anywhere because it's quite lightweight and very easy to set up, and it would look like this. Honestly, I like how these Ulanzi products are built because they all have a metal construction. Let's see how it unfolds. It unfolds like this, and the whole center column extends upward. Well, I'm gonna put it here on the table, although you can't see it very well right now. Here we can actually tighten this nut so that the tripod doesn't collapse unexpectedly, and we can start extending the height just by pulling. Now I'll tell you what height this can reach. Okay, so initially this measures around 38 centimeters. That is, when we have it folded like this, it's 38 centimeters, and it's able to extend to a height of more than 2 meters. 2 meters and 8 centimeters. And honestly, that's impressive. The truth is, it's going to be a perfect travel companion for all of us, because many times I have to record videos outside the house, and honestly, a tripod is essential. Also, I see that it has a quick release plate, so basically, we could always have this adapted to whatever accessory we need. In my case, for example, to a camera, and just by sliding it onto the top part of the tripod, it would be attached and it doesn't even move. To unlock it, you just press the button. We pull it back and our accessory comes right out. Also, I see that this head has a tightening knob here, so if we want to tilt it forward or backward, we get this movement to shoot at different heights. And in the same way, I see that it has a super smooth rotation on the horizontal axis with this little knob here that tightens the movement so it doesn't wobble. Honestly, the build quality is really good. I have a Manfrotto at home, which is very basic, and honestly, it's terrible because I have to tighten the screws every day. This one doesn't have any of that. Everything uses quick release, with screws that tighten themselves. In short, honestly, the build quality is super good, and its price is only 30 euros. And now, finally, it's time to talk about audio. And the thing is, if we record a good video but have poor audio that's recorded with a bad microphone, the video is absolutely useless because in the end, what people hear is much more important than what they see in this case. Imagine you're looking at a beautiful image, but the audio sounds distorted, bad, choppy. You're gonna say this looks terrible. Now, if you have an image that, well, doesn't have the best resolution, doesn't have the best lighting, but the audio sounds really good, and you're watching someone explaining something you're interested in, you're gonna stay on that video 100%. So here we have the Ulanzi A200, some wireless microphones that I can already tell you cost around 60 euros. And we're gonna test their quality right now. They come in a little box, a box that's about the size of the palm of my hand. On the back, it has a USB-C port for charging, and when we open it, it tells us the battery percentage of the case. Now, inside here, we find two microphones that we pull out from the top, and now we're gonna see how the microphones sound. Of course, they charge when we put them in this case, and in the same way, we're gonna find a USB-C adapter. through which we will receive the signal from these microphones. Also, this USB-C adapter will allow us, for example, to keep charging our phone at the same time because it has another USB-C port, so we never lose access to that port. So let's do that directly. I'm going to connect this small device to the iPhone Air. We can already see here that 2 green lights have turned on at the bottom. I suppose that's because it's waiting for the microphones, and I'm going to pick up one of them. In this case, the first one has already been paired. There's a green light that has stayed completely solid, and I'm going to record a video from my iPhone so you can see what kind of quality this microphone gives us. I'm going to put it more or less here, at the same height where I usually place the microphones I use for recording, and let's get started right away. Hey guys, I'm recording a video with the camera. Right now you're hearing me with the usual microphones, but if I look at the iPhone, I'm recording myself with the new Ulanzi A200. Let me know in the comments what you think. So that's it. There you have it. Let's wrap up this video. I'm going to give you some details about these Ulanzi A200. As you can see on the box, it shows the battery, but we also have 4 battery bars on each side that indicate how much battery the microphones inside have, from 0 to 100. Each of these microphones weighs 6 grams and has a battery that charges in an hour and a half, giving us 6 hours of use. So that's it, guys. That being said, we've already seen all the devices that Ulanzi sent us. Let's wrap up the video, and that's it, guys. This is the end of the video. Just to summarize, I want to highlight that I really like the build quality of these Ulanzi devices. As you've seen, almost all of them are made of some kind of metal. They're very well built. It's true that, for example, the wireless microphones are made of plastic just to make them lighter, since they're something we'll have to carry around a lot. But for the rest of the items, honestly, the build quality looks really good. Also, they have pretty affordable prices that I think any content creator, anyone making content for social media can afford, and they're below the market average. I've been surprised, for example, by the build quality of both the stand, the tripod, and the 2 magnetic mounts that I showed you. Because of that metal, the flash, which is very small and has the option for flash for photos and lighting for video, then we have the camera cooler. That's something super useful, which I'm sure many videographers have suffered from. And finally, the microphones, which as you've seen, give us pretty good sound quality wirelessly. So that's all, guys. If you have any questions, you can leave them below in the comments. If you liked the video, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.